chilled to the bone. What can Freddy be doing all this time? He's been gone 20 minutes.
Not so long. But we ought to have got a cab by this.
There won't be no cab, not until 11:30, missus. Right after they come back from the gate fest.
But we must have a cab. We can't stand here until 11:30. It's too bad.
Only my fault, missus.
If Freddy had a bit of gumption, he would have got one at the theatre door.
What could he have done? Poor boy.
Well, other people got cabs. Why couldn't he? Well, haven't you got a cab?
There's not one to be had for love of money.
But there must be one. You can't have tried.
I tell you, they're all engaged. The rain was so sunny that nobody's prepared. And everybody had to take a cab. I've been to Charing Cross Station one way, and nearly Ludgate Circus the other.
Did you try Trafalgar Square?
There wasn't one at Trafalgar Square.
Did you try?
I tried as far as Charing Cross Station. Did you expect me to walk to Hammersmith?
You haven't tried at all.
Really, Freddy, you are very helpless. Now go again. And don't come back until you found us a cab.
She'll simply get soaked for nothing.
But what about us? We supposed to stay out all night in his draft and have nothing on. Honestly, Freddy, you're a selfish pig. You don't have anything to do with it.
Very well. I'll go.
Oh, now then, Freddy, look where you're going, dear.
Sorry.
Oh, there's manners for you. 2 bunches of violets trod into the mud.
How did you know my son's name was Freddy, pray?
Huh. Oh, he's your son, is he? Well, you've done your duty, Mom's a mother should. He'd know better than to stroll a poor girl's flowers and then run away without paying.
Do you know what you saw, Mother? The idea.
Oh, please, Clara. Have you any pennies?
No, I've nothing smaller than a sixpence.
Well, I can give you change for a tanner, kind lady.
Give it to me. Now, this is for your flowers.
Oh, thank you kindly, lady.
No, they can give you change. Those things are only a penny a bunch.
Do hold your tongue. You can keep the change.
Oh, thank you, lady.
Now tell me, how did you know the young gentleman's name?
Well, I did.
I heard you call him by it. Don't try and deceive me.
Well, I was trying to deceive you. I called him Freddy or Charlie, same as you might if you was talking to a stranger and really pleasant.
Sixpence thrown away. Really, Mamma, I might have spared Freddy that.
Phew.
Sir, is there any sign of it stopping?
I'm afraid not. Started up worse than ever about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, dear me.
Well, if it's worse, it's a sign it's nearly over. So, cheer up, Captain. Buy a flower off a poor girl.
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't any change.
Oh, I can give you change, Captain. Let me see.
For a sovereign, I've nothing less.
Come on. Oh, do buy a flower off me, Captain. I can change half a crown. Take this for tuppence.
Now, don't be troublesome. There's a good girl. I really haven't any change. Stop. Here's 3 halfpence, if that's any use to you.
Thank you, sir. You be careful, though. There's a bloke here taking down every blessed word you are saying. Well, I ain't done nothing wrong by speaking to the gentleman. I'll be right to sell flowers if I keep off the curb. So, don't start talking like that. You charge me, you don't know what it means to me. You'll take away my character and drop me on the streets.
There. Who's hurting you, you silly girl? What do you take me for?
It's all right, he's a gentleman. Look, I've got you a copper's knock, sir.
It's a copper's knock.
Not some sort of farmer. Oh, I'll take my Bible oath. I never said a word to him except...
Shut up. Do I look like a policeman?
Well, then what was you taking down my words for? How do I know whether you took them down right? You just show me what you wrote about me. What? What's that? That ain't proper writing. I can't read that.
I can. Cheer up, Captain, and buy a flower off a poor girl.
Oh, it's because I called him Captain. I meant no harm by it. Oh, sir, don't let him charge me for a word like that. You don't know what it means.
No. I make no charge. Really, sir, if you're a detective, you need not begin protecting me against molestation by young women until I ask you. Anybody could see that the girl meant no harm. What business is it of yours?
Mind your own affairs. Being no detective is a busybody with his boots.
And how are all your people down at Selby?
How do you know my people for themselves?
Oh, never you mind, they told me. How do you come to be up so far east? You were born in Lissing Grove.
And what harm is there in my leaving Listen Grove? It wasn't fit for a pig to live in a 9 4 and 6 a week.
Live where you like. Stop that noise.
Come, you can't touch you. You have the right to live where you please.
about Maid, for instance? I'd like to go into the house in question with you, I would.
I'm a good girl, I am.
Do you know where I come from?
Hoxton.
Well, who said I didn't? Blimey! You know everything, you do.
Ain't no call to meddle with me, he ain't.
Of course he ain't. Don't you stand it for a moment. What call do you know about people in the office? Where's your warrant?
Yes, where's your warrant?
Oh, let him say what he likes. I'm gonna have no trouble with him.
You take us for dirt under your feet, don't you? I saw you talking to a gentleman. I saw you.
Yes, tell him where he come from if you want to go fortune-telling.
Cheltenham, Harrow, Cambridge, and India.
Quite right. May I ask, sir, do you do this for your living at a music hall?
Oh, I thought about that. Perhaps I shall someday.
There's no gentleman he ain't to interfere with a poor girl.
Now, what on earth is Freddy doing? I shall catch pneumonia if I say his draft any longer.
Oh, of course.
Will you please keep your impertinent remarks to yourself?
Oh, did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. I beg your pardon. Your mother's eczema, unmistakably.
How very curious. I was raised in Large Lady Park. Mere
What a
eczema.
devil of a name. Excuse me. You want a cab, do you?
Don't dare speak to me.
We would be so happy if you found us a cab, sir. Please, thank you.
There! I knowed he was a plainclothes copper.
That ain't no police whistle. That's a sporting whistle.
He's no right to take away my character. My character's the same to me as any lady.
I don't know whether you noticed it. The rain stopped about 2 minutes ago.
So it has. You're wasting our time listening to singers.
I can tell where you come from. You come from Anwell. Go back there.
Hanwood.
Thank you, teacher. So long.
Frightening people like that. How would he like it himself?
Well, Clara, it seems fine now. Let's walk to the motor bus.
But the cab!
Come.
Oh, it's too tiresome!
Poor girl. I'd love her to live without being worried and shivery.
How do you do it, if I may ask?
Simply phonetics, the science of speech. That's my profession. Also my hobby. Happy is the man who can make a living by his hobby. You can spot an Irishman or a Yorkshireman by his brogue. I can place any man within 6 miles. I can place him within 2 miles in London. Sometimes within 2 streets.
He ought to be ashamed of himself, the unmanly coward.
But is there a living in that?
Oh, yes, quite a fat one. This is an age of upstarts. Men start in Kentish Town with £80 a year and end up in Park Lane with 100,000. They want to drop Kentish Town, but they give themselves away every time they open their mouths. Now, I can
I'll just mind his own business and leave a poor girl alone.
Woman! Cease this detestable boo-hooing instantly, or else seek the shelter of some other place of worship.
Well, I've a right to be here if I like, same as you.
A woman who utters such depressing and disgusting sounds has no right to be anywhere, no right to live. Remember that you are a human being with a soul and the divine gift of articulate speech, that your native language is the language of Shakespeare and Milton and the Bible, and don't sit there crooning like a bilious pigeon.
Aww.
Heavens, what a sound. Oh.
Go on.
You see this creature with her curbstone English, the English that'll keep her in the gutter to the end of her days. Well, sir, in 6 months, I could pass her off as a duchess at an ambassador's garden party. I could even find her a place as a lady's maid or a shop assistant, which requires better English. That's the sort of thing I do for commercial millionaires, and all the profits of it, I do genuine scientific work and phonetics, and a little as Pope on the tonic lines.
Well, I myself am a student of Indian dialect.
Are you? Do you know Colonel Pickering, the author of Scrub in Sanskrit?
I am Colonel Pickering. Who are you?
Henry Higgins, author of Higgins' Universal Alphabet.
I came from India to meet you.
I was going to India to meet you.
Where do you live?
27A Wimpole Street. Come and see me tomorrow.
I'm at the Carlton. Come with me now and let's have a draw over some supper.
Right you are.
5 flowers, kind sir. I'm short for my lodging.
I really haven't any change. I'm sorry.
Liar. reminder.
Oh, when at last. Hello? Oh, there's two ladies that were here.
They walked to the bus when the rain stopped.
Never left me with this cab in my hands. Damnation!
Oh, never you mind, young man. I'm going home in a taxi.
Well, I'm dashed.
Show.
It's really amazing. I haven't taken in half of it, you know.
Would you like to go over any of it again?
Oh, no, thank you, not now. I'm quite done up for this morning.
Tired of listening to sounds?
Yes, it's a fearful strain. I rather fancied myself because I can pronounce 24 distinct vowel sounds, but your 130 beats me. I can't hear a bit of difference between most of them.
Oh, that comes with practice. You hear no difference at first, but you keep on listening, and presently you find they're all as different as A from B. What's the matter?
A young woman wants to see you, sir.
A young woman? What does she want?
Well, sir, she says you'd be glad to see her when you know what she's come about. Well, she's quite a common girl, sir. Well, very common indeed. Oh, I should have sent her away, only I thought perhaps you wanted her to talk into one of your machines. I have not done wrong, sir, but really, you see such queer people sometimes. I'm not entirely sure who I should send away and who... Do excuse me, sir, sorry.
That's all right, Mrs. Pearce. Has she an interesting accent?
Oh, something dreadful, sir, really. I don't know how you can take an interest in it.
Let's have a run. Show her up, Mrs. Pearce.
Very well, sir, it's for you to say.
This is rather a bit of luck. I'll show you how I make records. We'll set her talking, then I'll take her down first in Bell's visible speech, then in broad Romic, and then we'll get her on the phonograph so that you can turn her on as often as you like, with the written transcript before you.
This is the young woman, sir.
Why, this is the girl I jotted down last night. She's no use. I've got all the records I want of the Listen Grove lingo, and I'm not going to waste another cylinder on it. Be off with you, I don't want you.
Oh, don't you be saucy. You ain't heard what I come for yet. You tell him I come in a taxi?
Nonsense, girl. What do you think a gentleman like Mr. Higgins cares what you came in?
Oh, we are proud. Well, you ain't Bob giving lessons, not him. I heard him say so. I ain't come here for any compliment, and if my money's not good enough, I can go elsewhere.
Good enough for what?
Oh, good enough for you. Now you know, don't you? I've come to have lessons, I am, and to pay for them too, make no mistake.
What do you expect me to say to you?
Well, if you was a gentleman, you might ask me to sit down, I think. Don't I tell you, I'm bringing you business.
Pickering, shall we ask this baggage to sit down? Shall we throw her out of the window?
I won't be called baggage when I've offered to pay like any lady.
What is it you want, my girl?
Well, I want to be a lady in a flower shop instead of selling at the corner of Tottenham Court Road, but they won't take me unless I can talk more genteel. He said he could teach me. Well, here I am, ready to pay him, not asking for any favour, and he treats me as if I was dead.
How can you be such a foolish, ignorant girl as to think that you could afford to pay Mr. Higgins?
Well, why shouldn't I? I know what lessons cost just as well as you do, and I'm ready to pay.
How much?
Ah, now you're talking. I thought you'd come off it when you saw a chance of getting back a bit of what you chucked at me last night. You'd had to drop in, hadn't you?
Sit down.
Oh, well, if you're going to make a compliment,
Sit down!
Sit down, you silly girl!
Oh.
Won't you sit down?
Oh, well, don't mind if I do.
What is your name?
Eliza Doolittle.
Eliza, Elizabeth, Betsy, and Bess. They went to the woods to get a bird's nest.
They found a nest with 4 eggs in it.
They took one apiece and left 3 in it.
No, don't be silly.
You mustn't speak to the gentleman like that.
So why won't you speak sensible to me?
Come back to business. How much do you propose to pay me for the lessons?
Oh, I know it's right. A lady friend of mine takes French lessons from a real French gentleman for 18 pence an hour. Well,
You wouldn't have the face to ask me the same for teaching me my own language as you would for French, would you? So, won't give you more than a shilling. Take it or leave it.
Pickering, consider a shilling not as a simple shilling, but as a percentage of this girl's income. Works out as fully equivalent to 60 or 70 guineas from a millionaire. How, sir? Figure it out. A millionaire has about £150 a day. She earns about £half a crown.
Well, who told you I
She
only
offers
about...
me 2/5 of her day's income for less than 2/5 of a millionaire's income for a day would be somewhere about £60. Oh, it's handsome, by George. It's enormous. It's the biggest offer I ever had.
£60? Who said anything about £60? Where was
Hold your tongue.
I ain't got £60.
That's right, you silly girl, sit down. Nobody's going to touch your money.
Somebody's going to touch you with a broomstick if you don't stop snivelling. Sit down.
Oh, one would think he was my father.
If I decide to teach you, I'll be worse than 2 fathers to you. Here.
What's this for?
To wipe your eyes, to wipe any part of your face that feels moist. Remember, that's your handkerchief, that's your sleeve. Don't mistake the one for the other if you wish to become a lady in a shop.
There's no use talking to her like that, Mr. Higgins. She doesn't understand you. Besides, you're quite wrong. She doesn't do it that way at all.
Hey, you give me that handkerchief. He gave it to me, not to you.
He did. I think it must be regarded as her property, Mrs. Pearce.
So you're right, Mr. Higgins.
Higgins? I'm interested. We ought to bounce the ambassador's garden party. I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive if you can make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment you can't do it. And I'll pay for the lesson.
Oh, you're real good. Thank you, Captain.
It's almost irresistible. So deliciously low, so horribly dirty.
Hey, I ain't dirty. I washed my face and hands before I come, I did.
You're certainly not going to turn her head with flattery, Higgins.
Don't say that, sir. I'm always the one of turning a girl's head. And nobody can do it better than Mr. Higgins. They may not always mean it. I do hope, sir, you're not going to encourage him to do anything foolish.
What is life but a series of inspired follies? The difficulty is to find them to do. Never lose a chance. It doesn't come every day. I shall make a duchess of this draggle-tailed gutter snipe. Oh, yes. In 6 months, in 3, if she has a good ear and a quick tongue, I'll take her anywhere and pass her off as anything. Start today. Now, this moment, Mrs. Pearce, take her away and clean out monkey brand if it won't come off any other way. Is there a good fire?
Yes, sir, but
And
that's
take
not...
off all her clothes and burn them. Bring up Whiteley or somebody for new ones. Wrap her in brown paper. Paper until they come.
Oh, you gentlemen, you ain't to talk of such things. I'm a good girl, I am.
We want none of your listen, grow prudery here, young woman. You've got to learn to behave like a duchess. Now, Mrs. Pearce, take her away. If she gives you any trouble, whoop her.
No, I'll call the police. I will.
Sir, I've got no place to put her.
Put her in the dustbin.
Oh, come, Higgins, be reasonable.
Yes, Mr. Higgins, you've got to be reasonable. You can't walk all over everybody like this.
I walk over everybody. My dear Mrs. Pearce, my dear Pickering, I never had the slightest intention of walking over anyone. All I propose is that we be kind to this poor girl. We have to help her to prepare and fit herself for her new station in life. If I did not express myself clearly, it was because I did not wish to hurt her delicacy or yours.
Well, you ever heard anything like that, sir?
Never, Mrs. Pearce, never.
What's the matter?
Well, the matter is, sir, is you can't go taking up a girl like that as if you're picking up a pebble off a beach.
Oh, why not?
Why not? Well, you don't know anything about her. What about her parents? Oh, she could be married.
Oh, God! There, as the girl very properly says, gone. Married indeed. Don't you know that a woman of that class looks a worn-out drudge at 50 a year after she's married?
Who married me?
Oh, by George, Eliza, the streets will be strewn with the bodies of men shooting themselves for your sake when I've done with you.
Nonsense, sir. You mustn't talk to the girl like that.
I'm going away. He's off his chump, he is. I don't want no bummies teaching me.
Oh, indeed, I'm mad, am I? Very well, Mrs. Pearce, you needed to order the new clothes for her house.
Oh, you see what becomes of being saucy? This way, please. Come on.
I didn't want no new clothes. I wouldn't have taken them. I can buy my own clothes.
You are an ungrateful, wicked girl. This is my return for offering to take you out of the gutter and dress you beautifully and make a lady of you.
Oh, stop, Mr. Higgins. Stop. I won't allow it. It's you that are being wicked. Well, go home to your parents, girl, and tell them to take better care of you.
Well, I ain't got no parents, see. They told me I was big enough to take care of myself and they turned me out.
where's your mother?
Ain't got no mother. Her that turned me out was my sixth stepmother, but I done all right without him, and I'm a good girl, I am.
Very well, then what on earth is all this fuss about? The girl doesn't belong to anybody. It's no use to anybody but me. Oh, Mrs. Pearce, you can adopt her. I'm sure a daughter would be a great amusement to you. Now, don't make any more fuss. Take her away and...
Well, what is to become of her, sir? Is she to be paid anything? Oh, do be sensible,
Pay her
sir.
whatever's necessary. Put it down in the housekeeping.
Oh.
Oh, what on earth will she want with money? She'll have her food and her clothes. She'll only drink if you give her money.
Oh, it's a lie. Nobody ever saw the sign of liquor on me.
Does it occur to you, Higgins, that the girl has some feelings?
No, I don't think so. Not any feelings we need bother about. Have you, Eliza?
I got my feelings the same as anyone else.
See the difficulty?
What's difficulty?
To get her to talk grammar. Mere pronunciation is easy enough.
Well, I don't want to talk grammar. I want to talk like a lady.
Will you please keep to the point, Mr. Higgins? I want to know on what terms is the girl to be here? She to have any wages? And what's to become of her once you finish your teaching? Well, you must look ahead a little,
What's
sir.
to become of her if I leave her out in the gutter? Tell me that, Mrs. Pearce.
Well, that's her business, not yours, Mr. Higgins.
Well, when I've done with her, we can throw her back out into the gutter and it'll be her own business again, so that's all right.
Oh, you've no feeling heart in you. Yeah, I've had enough of this. I'm going. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, you ought.
Have some chocolates, Eliza.
Well, how do I know what might be in them? I've heard of girls being drugged by the like of you.
Pledge of good faith. I'll eat one half. You eat the other.
No, I...
You shall have boxes of them. Barrels of them. You shall live on them, eh?
Well, I will eat it, only I'm too lazy to take it out of my mouth.
Listen, Eliza, I think you said you came here in a taxi.
What if I did? I've a right to take taxis as anyone else.
You have, Eliza, and in the future you shall have as many taxis as you like. You shall go up and down and round the town in a taxi every day. Think of that, Eliza.
You're tempting the girl, Mr. Higgins. It's not right. She should think of her future.
Oh, at her age, nonsense. Time enough to think of the future when you haven't any future to think of. No, Eliza, do as this lady does. Think of other people's futures, but never your own. Think of chocolates and taxis and gold and diamonds.
No, I don't want no gold and no diamonds. I'm a good girl, I am.
And you shall remain so, Eliza, under the care of Mrs. Pearce, and you shall marry an officer in the Guards, the son of the Marquis, who will disinherit it for marrying you, but will relent when he sees your
Excuse me, Higgins, I really must interfere. Mrs. Pearce is quite right. If this girl is to put herself in your hands for 6 months for an experiment in teaching, she must understand thoroughly what it is she's doing.
How can she? She's incapable of understanding anything.
No.
Besides, do any of us understand what we're doing? If we did, would we ever do it?
Very clever, Higgins, but not sound sense. Miss Doolittle.
That's all you get out of Eliza. No use explaining. As a military man, you ought to know that. Give her her orders, that's what she wants. Eliza! You are to live here for the next 6 months, learning to speak beautifully, like a lady in a flower shop, if you're good. And do whatever you're told. You shall sleep in a proper bedroom, and have lots to eat, and money to buy chocolates and take rides in taxis. If you're naughty and idle, you will sleep in the back kitchen among the black beetles and be walloped by Mrs. Pearce with a nonstick. At the end of 6 months, you will go to Buckingham Palace in a carriage, beautifully dressed. If the king finds out you're not a lady, you will be taken by police to the Tower of London, where your head will be cut off and walked into under flower girls. If you're not found out, you shall have a present of 7 and 6 pence to start life with as a lady in a shop. If you refuse this offer, you will be a most ungrateful and wicked girl, and the angels will weep for you. Are you satisfied, Pickering? Can I put it any more plainly and fairly, Mrs. Pearce?
I think you better let me speak to the girl properly, in private. I don't know if I can take charge of her, or consent to this arrangement at all. Of course, I know you don't mean her any harm, Mr. Higgins. But when you get what you call all interested in people's accents, well, you don't think or care what may happen to them, or you for that matter. Come on, Eliza, come with me, come on.
Right, let's... Thank you, Mrs. Pearce. Follow her off to the bathroom.
Oh, you're a great bully, you are. I won't stay here if I don't like. I won't let nobody want at me. I never asked to go to no Buckingham Palace. I was never in trouble with the police.
Don't answer that girl, that's enough. You don't understand the gentleman, so come with me, come on.
Well,
Eliza,
what
come
I'm
on.
saying is right. I won't go near the king, or I'm going to have my head cut off.
I know.
If I know what I was letting myself in for, I wouldn't have come here in the first place. I never asked to speak to him, and I don't care. And I have my feelings the same as everyone else.
Excuse the straight question, Higgins, but, are you a man of good character where women are concerned?
Have you ever met a man of good character where women are concerned?
Yes, very frequently.
But I haven't. Now, from the moment I let a woman make friends with me, she becomes jealous, exacting, suspicious, and a damn nuisance. I find the moment I let myself make friends with a woman, I become selfish and tyrannical. Women upset everything. When you let them into your life, you realize the woman is driving at one thing and you're driving at another.
At what, for example?
No, I suppose, the woman wants to live her own life, the man wants to live his, and each tries to drag the other onto the wrong track. One wants to go north, the other south. And the result is they both have to go east, but they both hate the east wind. And so here I am, firm, old, bachelor, and likely to remain so.
Oh, come, Higgins, you know what I mean. If I'm to be in this business, I shall feel responsible for that girl. I hope it's understood that no advantage is to be taken of her position.
That thing, sacred, I assure you. For she'll be a pupil, and teaching would be impossible unless pupils were sacred. I've taught schools of American millionaires since how to speak English. Best-looking women in the world. I'm seasoned. They might as well be blocks of wood. I might as well be a block of wood. Well, is it all right, Mrs. Pearce?
I just wish to trouble you with a word, if I may.
Oh, yes, certainly. I mean, don't burn that, Mrs. Pearce. I'll keep it as a curiosity.
Well, handle it carefully, sir, please. I'm to promise her not to burn it. Though I'd better put it in the oven for a while.
Oh, yes, thank you. Well, what have you to say to me?
Well, sir,
Am I in the way?
Oh, no, not at all, sir, no. Mr. Higgins, will you please be very particular about what you say before the girls?
Of course, I'm always particular about what I say. Why do you say this?
No, sir, you're not at all particular. Or you've mislaid something or get a little impatient. No, I don't mind, I'm used to it. But you really must not swear before the girl.
I swear, I can never swear. I detest the habit. What the devil do you mean?
That's what I mean, sir. You swear a great deal too much. No, I don't mind your damning and your blasting and your what the devil, who's the devil, where's the devil, if I'm not sure where the
this
devil
language from your lips, really.
But there is a certain word I must ask you not to use. The girl just used it herself because the bath was too hot. It begins with the same letter as bath. Now she knows no better, she learned it at her mother's knee. But she must not hear it from your lips.
No, I cannot charge myself with ever having uttered it, except perhaps in a moment of extreme and justifiable excitement.
Only this morning, sir. You applied it to your boots, to the butter, and to the brown bread.
Oh, that. Mere alliteration, natural to a poet.
Well, so whatever you choose to call it. I beg you not to let the girl hear you repeat it.
Well, very well, very well. Is that all?
No, sir. We must be very particular with this girl as to personal cleanliness.
Certainly, quite right. Most important.
I mean, not to be slovenly about her dress or untidy in leaving things about.
Yes, I meant to draw your attention to that as well. You see, Pickering, it's these little things that matter. Take care of the pence and the pounds will take care of themselves is as true of money as personal habits.
Yes, sir. Then, might I ask you not to come down to breakfast in your dressing gown? Or at any rate, not to use it as a napkin to the extent that you do, sir. And if you'd be so good as not to eat everything off the same plate. And to remember not to put the porridge saucepan down on the clean tablecloth. That'd be a much better example to the girl. You know, you nearly choked yourself the fish Brenda only last week.
No, I may do these things sometimes in absence of mind, but surely I don't do them habitually. By the way, my dressing gown smells most damnably of benzene.
No doubt it does, sir, but if you wipe your fingertips all
Oh, very well, very well. I shall wipe them in my hair in future.
I hope I'm not offended you, Mr. Higgins.
No, not at all, not at all. You're quite right. I shall be particularly careful before the girl. Is that all?
No. dresses you bought from abroad. I really can't put her back into the old thing.
Certainly. Anything you like. Is that all?
Thank you, sir. That's all.
The woman has the most extraordinary ideas about me. Here I am, shy, diffident sort of man. I've never been able to feel really grown up and tremendous like other chaps. And yet, she's firmly persuaded that I'm some sort of arbitrary, overbearing, bossing kind of person. I can't know.
If you please, sir, the trouble's beginning already. There's a dustman downstairs. Alfred Doolittle wants to see you. He said you got his daughter here.
Who I said?
Send the blackguard up.
Oh, very well, sir.
He may not be a blackguard, Higgins.
Nonsense, of course he's a blackguard.
Well, whether he is or not, I'm afraid we shall have some trouble with him.
No, I think not. If there's any trouble, you shall have it with me, not I with him. And we are sure to get something interesting out of him.
About the girl?
No, I mean his dialect.
Alfred Doolittle, sir.
Professor Higgins?
Here. Good morning.
Good morning, Governor.
Sit down.
I come about a serious matter, Governor.
Brought up in Hounslow Mother Welfare, I should think. What do you want, Doolittle?
I want my daughter. It's what I want.
Of course. You're her father, aren't you? You don't suppose anyone else wants her, do you? Glad to see some spark of family feeling left in you. She's upstairs. Take her away at once.
Why?
Take her away. Do you suppose I'm going to keep your daughter for you?
Now, look here, Governor. Is this fair, Eddie? Is it reasonable to take on a man like this? The girl belongs to me. You've got her. Where do I come in?
Your daughter had the audacity to come here and ask me to teach her how to speak properly so she can get a place in a flower shop. This gentleman and my housekeeper have been here all the time. How dare you come here and attempt to blackmail me? You sent her here on purpose.
No, Governor.
You must have. How else did you know she was here?
Don't take a man up like that, Governor!
The police are going to take it up with you. This is a plot to extort money by threats. I shall telephone the police.
Have I asked you for a brass farthing? Oh, I asked the gentleman here. I said a word about money.
What else did you come here for?
What would a man come here for? Be human, Governor.
Alfred, did you put her up to it?
No, Governor, so help me, I've taken my Bible oath on it. I ain't seen the girl these 2 months past.
And how did you know she was here?
I'll tell you, Governor, if you only let me get a word in. I'm willing to tell you. I want to tell you. I'm waiting to tell you.
Pickering, this man has a certain natural gift of rhetoric. Observe the rhythm of his native wood-nosed wild. I'm willing to tell you, I'm wanting to tell you, I'm waiting to tell you. Sentimental rhetoric. That's the Welsh strain in him. It also accounts for his mendacity and dishonesty.
Oh, please, Higgins, I'm West Country myself. How did you know the girl was here if you didn't send her?
It's this, Governor. The girl gave a boy a ride in a taxi. Give him a bit of a jolt. He hung about on the chance of getting another ride home. She sent for her luggage when she heard you was willing to have her stopped here. I met the boy at the corner of Longacre and Endell Street.
Public house, yes?
It's a poor man's club, Governor, and why shouldn't I?
Do let him tell his story, Higgins.
Well, the boy told me what was up. And I'll ask you, what was my feelings as a father? What was I to think of that? I said to the boy, I says, you bring me the luggage.
Why didn't you go forwards yourself?
Oh, the landlady wouldn't have trusted me with her. She's that kind of woman, you know, Governor. The boy didn't trust me until I gave him a penny, the little swine. I brought it here just to oblige you like, make myself appealing.
How much luggage?
Oh, just musical instrument, Governor. And some picture frames, a trifle of jewelry, and a bird cage. She said she didn't want no clothes. Now, I What was I to think of that? As a father, what was I to think?
So you came here to rescue her from worse than death. Is that it?
That's right. Governor, just so.
But why did you bring her luggage if you intended to take her away?
Have I said a word about taking her away? Have I now?
You're going to take her away. Double quick.
Oh, Governor, I'm not the man to stand in my little girl's life. I have walked with a new career opening up for her and all.
Mrs. Pearce, this is Eliza's father. He's come to take her away. Give her to him.
No, this is a misunderstanding. Listen here.
You told me to burn her clothes.
That's right. I can't go carrying the girl through the streets like a blooming monkey now, can I? I'll put it to you.
You have put it to me that you want your daughter. Take your daughter. If she doesn't have any clothes, go buy her some.
Well, where's the clothes she coming? Did I burn them? Did the missus here?
I am the housekeeper, if you please. I've ordered some new clothes for your girl, and when they arrive, you can take her away. But you can wait in the kitchen. This way. Come on.
Listen, Governor, you and me, we're men of the world now, aren't we?
Men of the world, are we? Mrs. Pearce, you'd better go.
I think so indeed, sir.
The floor is yours, Doolittle.
Thank you, Governor. Well, the truth is, Governors, I've taken a sort of fancy to you. And if you really want the girl, I'm not so set on having her back home again that I might not be open to a sort of an arrangement. See, taking it in the light of a young woman, she is an attractive young girl, but as a daughter, she don't pay a cake. Now, I'll put it to you straight. All I'm asking is my rights as a father. And you're the last man alive should expect me to give her away for free, because I can see that you don't want a straight sort, Governor. And so, what about £5 to you? What's it matter? And Eliza to me.
I think you ought to know, Doolittle, that Mr. Higgins' intentions are entirely honourable.
Oh, of course they are, Governor. If I thought they wasn't, I'd ask 50.
You mean to say, callous bastard, that you'd sell your own daughter for £50?
No. In a general way, no, I wouldn't. But for a fine gentleman like yourself, I'd do a good deal, I'd do a sure.
Have you no morals, man?
Oh, I can't afford them, Neither can you if you was as poor as me. I don't mean any trouble, mind you. But if Eliza's going to come in for a bit of it, why not me too?
I don't know, Pickering. Can be no question that as a matter of morals, it would be a positive crime to give this man a farthing, and yet I feel a sort of rough justice.
It's right. I say, a father's heart, as it were.
Well, I know the feeling, but really, it seems hardly right.
No, don't say that, Governor. Don't talk that way. Look at me, gentlemen. What am I? I'm one of the undeserving poor. It's what I am. If there's anything going on, I put in for a bit of it. I'm always up against middle-class morality. It's the same old story. You're undeserved, so you can't have it. But my needs are as great as the most deserving widow ever got. Money out of 6 different charities in 1 week for the death of the same husband. So I don't need less than the deserving man. I need more. I don't eat less hearty than him, and I drinks a lot more. I need a bit of amusement, because I'm a thinking man. I need cheerfulness and a song and a band when I'm feeling low. Well, they charge me the same for all of this as they charge the deserving poor. What is middle-class morality? It's just an excuse for not giving me anything. So don't you gentlemen play that game all night. Now, I'll be straight with you. I ain't pretending to be deserving. I'm undeserving. And I'm going to go on being undeserving. I like it. And that's the truth. What do you do, gentlemen? Use a man's nature against him to do him out of the price of his one daughter that he brought up and fed and clothed by the sweat of his own brow until she's grown up big enough to be interesting to you two, gentlemen. £5 too much? I'll put it to you. And I'll leave it to you.
Pickering, if we were to take this man in hand for 3 months, he could have his choice between a seat in the cabinet and a popular pulpit in Wales.
What do you say to that, Doolittle?
Oh, no, Governor, thank you kindly. I've seen all the preachers and all the prime ministers, because I'm a thinking man, and I'm game for politics and religion, social reform, same as all the other amusements. And I'll tell you, it's a dog's life, any way you look at it. Now, undeserving poverty is my line. Taking one position in society up against another, it's the only one has any ginger in it, to my taste.
Suppose we must give him a fiver.
He'll make a bad use of it, I'm afraid.
Oh, no, Governor, so help me, I won't. You don't have to worry that I'll save it and spare it and live idle by it. There won't be a penny of it left by Monday. I have to go to work again, same as always. It won't pauperize me, you bet. Just one good spree for me and the missus, giving enjoyment to ourselves, employment to others, and satisfaction to you two gentlemen to know it ain't been thrown away. You couldn't spend it better.
This is irresistible. Let's give him 10.
Oh, no. She'd never have the heart to spend 10. I probably shouldn't either. £10, that's a lot of money. It makes man prudent like, and there goes happiness. You just asked me. But I'm telling you give me what I want. Not a penny more, and not a penny less.
Why don't you marry that missus of yours? I rather draw the line as encouraging that sort of immorality.
Oh, you tell her that, Governor. You tell her that. I'm willing. It's me that suffers by. No, I'm a slave to that woman. Just because I'm not her lawful husband, I gotta be kind to her. I gotta give her gifts. I gotta buy her clothes. Something sinful. Oh, catch her. Want to marry me. You take my advice, Governor. Marry Eliza when she's young and she don't know no better. If you don't, you'll be sorry for it later. If you do, she'll be sorry for it later, but better you than she, because you're a man, and she's only a woman, and she don't know how to be happy anyway.
Pickering, if we listen to this man any longer, we shall have no convictions left. I think you said 5.
That's right, Governor.
Sure you won't take 10?
Not just now. Another time.
Here we go.
Thank you, Governor. Morning. Excuse me, miss.
Come, don't you know you're
Blimey,
a
it's Eliza!
Oh, don't I look silly?
Kelly!
Now, sir, don't say anything to make the girl conceited about herself.
Oh, yes, of course. Damn silly.
Please, sir.
I mean, extremely silly.
Well, I should look all right with my hat on.
Oh.
A new fashion, by George, and it ought to look horrible.
Yes.
I never knew she could clean up as good looking as that. She's a credit to me, ain't she?
I tell you, it's easy to clean up here. Hot and cold water on tap, just as much as you like there is. Woolly towels there is, and a towel horse so hot it burns your fingers. Salt brushes to scrub yourself, and a little wooden bowl of soap smelling like primroses. Now I know why ladies are so plain. Washing's a treat for them. Wish they saw what it was for the like of me.
Welcome bathroom with your approval.
Well, it did. Not all of it, and I don't care who hears me say it. Mrs. Pearce knows.
What was wrong, Mrs. Pearce?
No, nothing, sir. It doesn't matter.
I had half a mind to break it. Didn't know which way to look, but I hung a towel over it, I did.
Over what?
The looking glass, sir.
Oh. Doolittle, you have brought your daughter up too strictly.
Me? I never brought her up at all. Except to give her the lick of a strap every now and then. It's just not used to it, that's all. She'll soon pick up your free and easy ways.
No, I'm a good girl, I am, and I won't pick up
Eliza,
no
if you
free
say you're a
easy
good
ways.
girl one more time, your father shall take you home with him.
Oh, not him. You don't know my father. All he come here for was to touch him for some money to get drunk on.
Well, what would I use the money for then? To put into the church plate?
Yeah.
Don't give me any. And don't let me hear you giving any of that to your gentlemen either. Or you'll hear from me about it. You hear?
Do you have any more advice to give your daughter? Your blessing, for instance?
No, Governor. I ain't such a mug to put on to my kids all as I know myself. Hard enough to hold on. Besides that, you want Eliza's mind improved, Governor. You do it yourself with the lick of a strap. Sorrentino.
Stop! You'll come here regularly to see your daughter. It's your duty, you know. I have a brother. He's a clergyman. He can help you in your talks with her.
Oh, I'll come. Not just this week. I have work at a distance. But later on, you may depend on me. Good morning. Good morning.
Don't you believe the old liar? You'd have seen you set a bulldog on him as a clergyman. Yeah, you won't see him again in a hurry.
I don't want to. Eliza, do you?
Oh, no, not me. I don't want never to see him again. He's a disgrace to me. He is collecting dust instead of working at his trade.
What is his trade, Eliza?
Oh, talking money out of other people's pockets into his own. Oh, his proper trade's in Abbey, and he works at it sometimes too for exercise, and he makes good money at it, and sometimes he... Why, hey, ain't you gonna call me Miss Doolittle no more?
Oh, my apologies, Miss Doolittle. It was a slip of the tongue.
No, it's all right, only it sounded so genteel. Oh, I should just like to take a taxi to the corner of Tottenham Court Road and get out there and tell it away from me. Just put the other girls in their place a bit. We can talk to them, you know.
Better wait till we get you something really fashionable.
Yeah, besides, you shouldn't cut out your old friends now that you've risen in the world. That's what we call snobbery.
Oh, you shouldn't call the like of them my friends now, I should hope. They put it to me often enough with their ridicule when they had the chance. Now it means to get a bit of my own back. But if I'm to have some fashionable clothes all week, oh, I should like to have some. Mrs. Pearce tells me you're going to get me clothes to wear in bed at night, different to what I wear in the daytime. Although it does seem a waste of money when you could get something to show. Besides, I can never fancy changing into coat.
Now, Eliza, the new things have come for you to try on.
Whoa!
Well, don't rush around like that, girl! Eliza!
Pickering, we've taken on a stiff job.
Higgins? We have.
Henry, what are you doing here today? It is my at-home day. You promised not to come.
Oh, bother.
Go on that one.
Oh, I know, Mother. I came here on purpose.
But you mustn't, dear. I'm serious. You upset all my friends. Stop coming whenever they see you.
Oh, nonsense. I know I have no small talk, but people don't mind.
Oh, don't they? Small talk indeed, Henry. What about your large talk, really, dear? You mustn't say.
Oh, I must. I have a job for you, a phonetic job.
Please, dear. Don't get round your vowels. So I like to read you pretty postcards in your patterned shorthand.
I always have to read your copies in ordinary writing you so thoughtfully sent me.
But it's not a phonetic job.
So it was.
Not your part of it. I picked up a girl.
Does this mean that some girl has picked you up?
Not at all. I don't mean a love affair.
What a pity.
What?
Well, you never fall in love with anyone under the age of 45. When will you realize that there's some rather nice-looking young woman about?
I can't be bothered with young women. My idea of a lovable woman is something as light as you as possible. I shall never get into the way of seriously liking young women. Some habits lie too deep to be changed. Besides, they're all idiots.
Do you know what you would do if you really loved
Bother what? Marry, I suppose.
No. Stop fidgeting and take your hands out of your pockets. That's a good boy. Now, tell me about the girl.
She's coming to see you.
I don't remember asking her.
No, you didn't. I asked her. If you knew her, you wouldn't have asked her.
Indeed! Why?
Well, it's like this. She's a common flower girl. I picked her off the curbstone.
And invited her at my at-home?
Oh, that will be all right. I've taught her to speak properly, and she has strict orders as to her behavior. She's to stick to 2 subjects: the weather and everybody's health. Fine day, and how do you do, you know, and not to let herself go on things in general. That'll be safe.
That'll be safe? To talk about our health? About our insides? Perhaps about our outsides? How could you be so silly?
Well, she must talk about something. Don't you fuss. She'll be all right. Pickering's in it with me. I have a sort of bet that I can pass her off as a duchess at an ambassador's garden party. It started some months ago, and she's getting on like a house on fire. I shall win my bet. She has a quick ear, and she's been easier to teach than my middle-class pupils because she's had to learn a complete new language. She talks English unless you talk French.
That sounds factory, at all events.
Well, it is, and it isn't.
What does that mean?
You see, I've got the pronunciation all right, but you have to consider not only how a girl pronounces, but what she pronounces.
This is
That's
Mrs.
what...
Einsford.
Oh, Lord.
How do you do?
How do you do?
My son Henry.
Your celebrated son. I've so longed to meet you, Professor Higgins.
Delighted.
Oh. How do you do?
I've seen you before somewhere. I haven't the ghost of a notion where, but I've heard your voice. Oh, don't let us sit down.
I'm sorry to say that my celebrated son has no manners. You mustn't mind him.
Oh, I don't.
Not at all.
Am I being rude? I don't mean to be.
Arbour.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins?
So very glad that you could come. Do you know Mrs. Einsford-Hill? Miss Einsford-Hill?
Has Henry told you what we've come for?
You're interrupted, David.
Henry! Henry, really?
Are we in the way?
No, you couldn't have come more fortunately. We want you to meet a friend of ours.
Oh, yes. By George, of course. We want 2 or 3 people. He'll do as well as anyone else. Oh, God of heaven, another of them.
What do you do?
Very good of you to come. Do you know Colonel Pickering?
How do you do?
I don't think you know my son, Professor Higgins.
How do you do?
Take my oath, I've met you somewhere before. Where was it?
I don't think so.
Don't matter. Sit down. Well, here we are, anyhow, and now, what we're going to talk about until Eliza comes.
Henry, you are the life and soul of the Royal Society's foray, but really you're rather trying on more commonplace occasions.
Am I? Very sorry. I suppose I am, you know.
I sympathise. I haven't any small talk. If only people would be frank and say what they really think.
Oh, Lord.
But why?
Well, what they think they also think is bad enough. What they really think would break up the whole show.
Why is it so very cynical?
Cynical? The Dickens said it would be cynical. I mean, it would be decent. Would it be decent?
Surely.
you don't mean that, Professor Higgins.
We're all savages, more or less. We're supposed to know about culture and civilization and all that, but how much do we know about poetry or art or science? What do you know of poetry? What do you know of science? What does he know of art or science or anything else? You imagine I know of philosophy.
Or of manners, Henry.
Sure.
Miss Doolittle.
Here she comes, Mother.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins? Mr. Higgins told me I might come.
Quite so, I'm very glad indeed to see you.
Colonel Pickering, is it not?
How do you do, Miss Doolittle?
Miss Doolittle, I feel sure we've met before. I remember your eyes.
How do you do?
My daughter, Clara.
How do you do? How do you do?
Well, I've certainly had the pleasure.
My son, Freddy.
How do you do?
By George, it all comes back. Covent Garden. Damn thing.
Henry, please get off my writing table. You'll break it.
Sorry.
Will it rain, do you think?
The shallow depression in the west of these islands is moving slowly in an easterly direction. There are no indications of any great changes in the barometrical situation.
Oh, how awfully funny!
What is so funny about that, young man? I bet I got it right.
Good!
I feel sure. There's so much influenza about. It runs right through our entire family every spring.
Mother,
My aunt died of influenza. So they said. But it's my belief they done the old woman in.
done her in.
Yes, Lord love you. Why should she die of influenza? She come through diphtheria right enough the year before. I saw her with my own eyes. Fairly blue with it, she was. They all thought she was dead, but my father, he kept ladling gin down her throat till she came to so sudden that she bit the bowl off the spoon.
Dear me.
What call would a woman with that strength in her have to die of influenza? What become of her new straw hat that should have come to me? Somebody pinched it. And what I say is, them as pinched it, done her in.
What does doing her in mean?
Oh, that's the new small talk. To do with someone who needs to kill them.
Surely you don't think that your aunt was killed.
Do I not? Them she lived with would have killed her for a hat pin, let alone a hat.
You can't think that your father poured spirits down her throat that might have killed her.
Oh, not her. Gin was mother's milk to her. Besides, he poured so much down his own throat that he knew the good of it.
Do you mean that he drank?
Drank! My word, something chronic.
How dreadful for you.
Oh, it never did him no harm what I could see, but then he did not keep it up regular. On the burst, as you might say, from time to time, and always more agreeable when he had a drop in. When he was out of work, my mother used to give him 4 pence and tell him not to come back until he drunk himself cheerful and loving like. Oh, there's lots of women has to make their husbands drunk to make them fit to live with. Oh, you see, it's like this. When a man has a bit of a conscience, it always takes him when he's sober, and that just makes him low-spirited. A drop of booze just takes that off and makes him happy. Here, what are you sniggering at?
Small talk. You're doing so awfully well.
Well, if I was doing it proper, then what was you laughing at? Have I said something I oughtn't?
Not at all, Miss Doolittle.
Well, that's a mercy anyhow. What I
Are you walking across the park, Mr. Little? If so...
Walk not bloody lightly, I am going in a taxi.
I just can't get used to the new ways.
Oh, it's all right, Mama. Quite all right. People will think we never go anywhere or see anybody if you're so old-fashioned.
I dare say I am very old-fashioned. Don't think that you'll begin using that term now, Clara. I've already gotten used to you calling men rotters and everything's beastly. It's so unladylike. But this last is too much. Don't you think so, Colonel Pickering?
Don't ask me. I've been away in India for several years, and manners have changed so much that sometimes I don't know whether I'm at a respectable dinner table or in a ship's forecastle.
It's all a matter of habit. There's no right or wrong in it. Nobody means anything by it. And it's so quaint. It gives such a smart emphasis to things that are themselves, not very witty. I find new small talk delightful and quite innocent.
On that note, I think it's time for us to leave.
Oh yes, we still have 3 atoms to go to still. Goodbye, Miss Higgins. Goodbye, Colonel Pickering. Goodbye, Professor Higgins.
Goodbye. Now, be sure to try on the new small talk at the 3 atoms. Don't be nervous about it. Pitch it in strong.
I will. Goodbye. Such nonsense, all this early Victorian prudery.
Such damned nonsense.
Such bloody nonsense! Mother!
Well, I ask you. Well, goodbye.
Goodbye. Would you like to see Miss Doolittle again?
Yes, most awfully, thanks.
Well, you know my day.
Yes, thanks awfully. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Professor Higgins.
Goodbye.
I just don't think I'll be able to bring myself to use that word.
Don't. It's not compulsory, you know. You'll get on quite well without it.
Well, Clara is so down on me if I'm not positively reeking with the latest slang.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Please ignore Clara. She just doesn't know, the poor girl. We don't get out much. We're so poor. She gets to so few parties. But the boy is nice, don't you think?
Quite nice. I shall always be very glad indeed to see him.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.
Well, Eliza's presentable.
You silly boy. Of course she's not presentable. She's a triumph of your art and of her dressmakers. But if you suppose for one moment that she does not give herself away in every sentence she utters, you must be perfectly correct about her.
But don't you think something might be done? I mean, something to eliminate the sanguinary elements from her conversation.
Not as long as she's in Henry's hands.
You mean to say that my language is improper?
Oh dear, it would be quite proper on a canal barge. But it would not be proper for her at a garden party.
Say.
Oh, come, Higgins. You must know yourself. I haven't heard such language as yours since we used to interview the volunteers down at Hyde Park 20 years ago.
Well, suppose I don't always talk like a bishop.
Would you tell me what the exact state of things is in Wimbledon?
Well, I have come to live there with Henry. We work together at my Indian dialects, and we...
Quite so, I know all about that. It's an excellent arrangement. But where does this girl live?
With us, of course. Where would she live?
But on what terms? Is she a servant? If not, what is she?
I think I know what you mean, Mrs. Higgins.
Dash me if I do. I've had to work at the girl for 3 months to get her out her present pitch. Besides, she's useful. She knows where my things are and reminds me of my appointments and so forth.
But how does the housekeeper get on with her?
Mrs. Pearce? Oh, she's jolly glad to get so much off her hands. Before Eliza came, she had to find things and keep track of my appointments. Although she has some silly bee in her bonnet about Eliza. She keeps saying, "You don't think, sir?" Doesn't she, Pick?
Yes, that's the formula. You don't think so? And that's the end of every conversation with Eliza.
As if I ever stopped thinking about that girl, her confounded bowels and continence. I'm worn out thinking about her, and teeth in his tongue. Not to mention her soul, which is the quaintest of the lot.
You certainly are a pretty pair of babies, playing with your live doll.
Playing? The hardest job I ever tackled. Make no mistake about that, Mother. Although you have no idea how frightfully interesting it is to take a human being and change her into quite a different human being by creating a new speech for her. It's filling the deepest gulf that separates glass from glass and soul from soul.
Yes, my dear Mrs. Higgins, it's enormously interesting. We take Eliza very seriously, I assure you. We keep plenty of records. Dozens of gramophone discs and photographs.
Eliza is the most absorbing experiment I've ever tackled. She regularly fills up our lives, doesn't she, Nick?
We're always talking Eliza.
Teaching Eliza.
Dressing Eliza.
Inventing new Elizas. You know,
my dear Mrs.
it's the most
Higgins, girl is a genius, I assure you.
Yeah.
She can play piano beautifully.
I try to
We've taken her to classical music halls,
continental
into
dialects, African dialects,
it's all the same to her. She
Things
can
like
everything
me,
right
to get a hold
as soon
of.
as she gets home.
Mix up.
Whether it's a
Like a shot.
Beethoven, Brahms, or Lionel Morris. 6 months ago, she was never as much as a piano. I beg your pardon.
Sorry. Pickering starts shouting. Nobody can get a word in edgeways.
Be quiet, Henry. Don't you realize that when Eliza walked into Wimble Street, something walked in with her?
Her father did, but Henry soon got rid of him.
It would have been more to the point if her mother had. But as her mother did not, something else did.
But what?
A problem.
Oh, I see. The problem of how to pass her off as a lady.
Oh, I've solved that problem. I've half solved it already.
No, you two infinitely stupid male creatures. The problem of what is to be done with her afterwards.
Oh, I see nothing in that. She'll be fine with all the advantages I've given her.
Advantages of that poor woman who was here just now? The manners and habits that disqualify a fine lady from earning her own living without giving her a fine lady's income. Is that what you mean?
Oh, that will be all right, Mrs. Higgins.
You can find her some light employment.
She's happy enough. Don't you worry about her. Goodbye.
Anyhow, there's no use bothering about it now. The thing's done.
There are plenty of openings. We'll do what's right. Goodbye.
Bye, Mother. Let's take her down to the Shakespeare exhibition at Earl's Court.
Yes, let's. Her remarks will be delicious.
We'll have her mimic all the people for us when we get home.
Rip me.
Men. Oh!
I shan't be going out again.
Right. Can Mrs. Pearce go to bed? We don't want anything more, do we?
Oh, Lord, no.
I say, Mrs. Pearce will row if we leave these things lying about in the drawing room.
Throw them over the banister into the hall. She'll find them there in the morning, put them away all right. She'll think we were drunk.
We are slightly. Are there any letters?
I didn't look. Look where my slippers are.
And the circulars and this coroneted billet due for you.
I mean, Lord. Evening. What a crew. What a silly tomfoolery. Over there, aren't they?
Well, I feel a bit tired. It's been a rather long day. The garden party, the dinner party, and the opera. Rather too much of a good thing, if you ask me. But you won your bet, Higgins. Eliza did the trick. It's something to spare, eh?
Thank God it's over.
Were you nervous? I was. Eliza didn't seem a bit nervous.
She wasn't nervous. I knew she'd be all right. No, it's the strain of putting the job through all these months it's told me. It's interesting enough at first, while we were still at phonetics, but after that I got deadly sick of it. If I hadn't backed myself to do it, I should have chucked the whole thing up 2 months ago. silly notion. The whole thing's been a bore.
Oh, come. The garden party was frightfully exciting. My heart began beating like anything.
I guess for the first 3 minutes, but when I saw we were going to win, hands down, I felt like a bear in a cage, hanging about doing nothing. Dinner was worse. Sitting gorging there for over an hour with nobody but a damned fool and a fashionable woman to talk to. I tell you, Pickering, never again for me. No more artificial duchesses. The whole thing has been simple purgatory.
You've never been broken in properly to the social routine. I quite enjoy dipping into it occasionally myself. It makes me feel young again. Anyhow, it was a great success. An immense success. I was frightened once or twice because Eliza was doing it so well. You see, lots of real people can't do it at all. They're such fools that they think style comes by nature to people in their position, and so they never learn. There's always something professional about doing things relatively well.
Yes, that's what drives me mad. The silly people don't know their own silly business. However, it's over and done with. Now I can go to bed at last without dreading tomorrow.
I think I shall turn in too. Still, it's been a great occasion. A triumph for you. Good night.
Put out the lights, Eliza, and tell Mrs. Pearce not to make coffee for me in the morning. I'll take tea instead. Going on like this. May I ask whether you complain of your treatment here?
No.
Has anyone behaved badly to you, Colonel Pickering, Mrs. Pearce, any of the servants?
No.
I presume you don't pretend that I've treated you badly.
No.
Glad to hear it. Perhaps you're tired after the strain of the day. Will you have a glass of champagne?
No. Thank you.
Been coming on for some days. I suppose it was natural to be anxious about the garden party, but it's all over now. There's nothing more to worry about.
No. No, nothing more for you to worry about. God. I wish I was dead.
Why? In heaven's name, why? Listen to me, Eliza. All this irritation is purely subjective.
Oh, I don't understand. I'm too ignorant.
It's only imagination. Low spirits and nothing else. Nobody's hurting you. Nothing's wrong. You go to bed like a good girl and sleep it off. Have a little cry and say your prayers that will make you feel comfortable.
Oh, I heard your prayers. Thank God it's all over.
Well, don't you thank God it's all over? Now you're free to do what you like.
What am I fit for? What have you left me fit for? Where am I to go? What am I to do? What's to become of me?
That's what's worrying you, is it? I shouldn't bother about that if I were you. I should imagine that you won't have much difficulty settling yourself somewhere or other, although once I didn't quite realize you were going away. You might marry, you know. See, Eliza, all men are not the confirmed old bachelors like me and the Colonel. Some men, most men, are married sort of poor devils. And you're not bad looking. quite a pleasure to look at you sometimes. Not now, of course, as you're crying and looking as hungry as the very devil. But, ignore yourself, quite all right. You're what I should call attractive. That is, to people in the marrying line, you understand. Now, you go to bed, have a good night's rest, and then get up and look at yourself in the glass and you won't feel so cheap. I dare say my mother finds some chap or other do very well.
You're above that at the corner of Tottenham Court Road.
What do you mean?
I sold flowers. I didn't sell myself. Now you've made a lady of me. I'm not fit to sell anything else.
Gosh, Eliza, don't insult human relations by bringing all this cant about buying and selling into it. You needn't marry the fellow if you don't like him.
What else am I to do?
Lots of things. How about your old idea of a florist shop? Pickering can set you up in one. He's lots of money. But you have to pay for all those tops you've been wearing today. And that, with a hire of the jewellery, make a big hole in £200. Right. 6 months ago, you would have thought it the millennium to have a flower shop of your own. Come now. It'll be all right. I must clear off to bed now. I'm devilishly sleepy. By the way, I can get down here for something.
Your slippers?
Oh, yes. Of course, you shied them at me.
Before you go, sir, do my clothes belong to me or to Colonel Pickering?
What the devil use would they be to Pickering?
You might want them for the next girl you pick up to experiment on.
How do you feel towards us?
I don't want to hear anything more about that. All I want to know is whether anything belongs to me. My own clothes were burnt.
But what does it matter? Why need you start going on about this in the middle of the night?
I only want to know what I may take with me. I don't want to be accused of stealing.
Stealing? You shouldn't have said that, Eliza. That shows a want of feeling.
I'm sorry. I'm only a common, ignorant girl, and in my station I have to be careful. There can't be any feeling between the like of you and the like of me. Please, would you just tell me what belongs to me and what doesn't?
You may take the whole damned household if you like, except the jewels, they're hired. That satisfy you?
Stop, please. Will you take these up to your room and hold on to them for me? I don't want to run the risk of their being missing.
And these belong to me instead of the jeweler. I've run them down your ungrateful throat.
But this ring isn't the jeweler's. It's the one you bought for me in Brighton. And I don't want it now.
Infamous creature, how dare you accuse me of such a thing? It's you who have hit me. You've wounded me in the heart.
Well, I'm glad. I've got a bit of my own back, anyhow.
You've caused me to lose my temper, a thing that has hardly ever happened before. I prefer to say nothing more tonight. I'm going to bed.
Well, you best tell Mrs. Pearce about the coffee, for she won't be told by me.
Well, damn Mrs. Pearce, and damn the coffee, and damn you, and damn my own folly for having lavished such hard-earned knowledge and the treasure of my regard and intimacy on a heartless cousin's night.
Oh. A heartless gutless one.
Well, send them up. What? If you had told me that Mr. Henry was not in a state, I'd be more surprised. Tell him to come up once they've finished with the police. I suppose he's lost something.
Very well.
Go upstairs and tell Miss Doolittle not to come down until I send for her.
Yes.
Okay, Mother. It's a confounded thing.
Yes, dear, good morning. What is it?
Eliza's bolted.
Must have frightened her.
Frightened her? Nonsense. She was left last night, as usual, to turn out the light and all that, and instead of going to bed, she changed her clothes and went right off. Her bed wasn't slept in. She came in a cab for her things before 7 this morning, and that fool, Mrs. Pearce, let her have them without telling me a word about it. What am I to do?
Do without, I'm afraid, Henry. The girl has a perfect right to leave if she chooses.
I can't find anything. I don't know what appointments I've got.
Good morning, Mrs. Higgins. Has Henry told you?
What does that ask of an inspector say? Have you offered a reward?
You don't mean to tell me that you have sent the police after Eliza?
Of course. What are the police for? What else would we do?
The inspector made a lot of difficulties. I rather think he suspected us of some improper purpose.
Well, of course he did. What right have you to give the girl's name to the police as if she were a thief or lost umbrella or something, really?
We want to find her.
We can't let her go like this, Mrs. Higgins. What were we to do?
You two have no more sense than 2 children. Why do you think that it is okay?
Henry, a gentleman wants to see you.
Bother, I can't see anyone now. Who is it?
Doolittle.
Doolittle? Do you mean the dustman?
Oh, by George, it's a relative of hers that she's gone to somebody we know nothing about. Get him up quick.
Yes, sir.
Genteel relative. Now we shall know something.
Do you know any of the people?
Only her father, the fellow we told you about.
Mr. Doolittle.
See here. Do you see this? You done this.
Done what, man?
This, I tell you. Look at his head. Look at his coat.
Has Eliza been buying you clothes?
Eliza? My she. Now, why would Eliza buy me clothes?
Good morning, Mr. Doolittle. Won't you sit down?
Beg your pardon, man. I have been so full of what has happened to me that I can scarce think of anything else.
What the dickens has happened to you?
Happened? Destroyed my confidence. It's not as if it had only happened to me. Anything might happen to anyone, and nobody to blame but Providence, that is. This is something that you've done to me. Yes, you, Henry Higgins.
Have you found Eliza? That's the point.
Have you lost her?
Yes.
Well, you have all the luck, haven't you? No, I haven't found her, but she'll find me soon enough. Now, after what you've done to me.
Well, what has my son done to you, Mr. Doolittle?
Ruined me. What? Destroyed me, tied me up, and delivered me into the hands of middle-class morality.
You're nonsense. You're raving. You're mad. You're drunk. I gave you £5. After that, I had 2 conversations with you at £0.5 an hour. I've never seen you since.
Oh, drunk am I? Mad am I?
Yes.
Well, answer me this. Did you or did you not write a letter to an old blighter in America who was giving away $5 million to form moral reform societies all over the world? Oh, wanted you to create a universal language for him?
What? Ezra D. Wannerfeller? He's dead.
Oh, that's right, he's dead, and I'm done for. Answer me this. Did you or did you not say in your letter that the most original moralist in England at present, to your knowledge, was one Alfred Doolittle, a common dustman?
Oh, after your last visit, I remember making some silly joke of the kind.
Well, them words are in his will, wherein, thanks to you, Henry Higgins, and your silly joking, he leaves to me a share in his Wannafeller pre-digested cheese trust, on condition that I lecture, as often as requested, and not less than 6 times a year, to his Wannafeller moral relief societies all over the world.
The devil he does! What a laugh.
Safe thing for you, Doolittle. They won't ask you twice.
It's not the lecture in my mind, not the lecture. The blow in the face. won a lot of them. I have to live for others, not for myself. It's middle-class morality. You say you're worried about Eliza. Oh, don't you be so afraid. She's probably on my doorstep right now. She who could support herself very well selling flowers if I wasn't respectable. Oh, and the next one to touch me will be you, Henry. Oh, I'll have to learn to speak middle-class language instead of proper English. And that's where you come in. And I dare say that's what you got it for.
But, my dear Mr. Doolittle, you need not suffer this if you really are in earnest. Nobody can force you to accept this bequest. You can repudiate it. Isn't that so, Colonel Pickering?
I believe so.
Oh, that's the tragedy of it, man. If I did say repudiate, I have the nerve. Which one of us has? We're intimidated, man. Intimidated is what we are. If I did say reject, what is there for me but the workhouse? I have nerve for a workhouse at this age. Intimidated. That's what I am, man. Bought out, broke down. Happier men than me will fall from my dust and touch me for a tip, and I'll look on helpless and envy. That's what your son has done today.
Very glad to see you won't be doing anything foolish. For this solves the problem of Eliza's future. You can provide for her now.
Oh yes, I'm expected to provide for everyone on £3,000 a year.
Nonsense, nonsense. He can't provide for her. He shan't provide for her. She doesn't belong to him. I paid him £5 for her. Doolittle, either you're an honest man or a rogue.
A little of both, Henry. Like the rest of us. A little of both.
Well, you took the money for the girl, and you have no right to take her as well.
Henry, don't be absurd. If you really want to know where Eliza is, she's upstairs.
Upstairs? Then I should jolly soon fetch her downstairs.
Quiet, Henry, sit down!
I...
Sit down, dear, and listen to me. Sit!
Oh, very well, very well. I think you might have told me this half an hour ago.
Eliza came to me this morning. She had passed the night partly walking about in a rage, partly trying to throw herself into a river and being afraid to, and partly in the Carlton Hotel. She told me of the brutal way you two treated her.
What? My dear Mrs. Higgins, she's been telling you stories. We didn't treat her brutally. We hardly said a word to her, and we parted on particularly good terms. Higgins, did you bully her after I went to bed?
Just the other way about. She threw my slippers in my face. She behaved in the most outrageous way. I never gave her the slightest provocation. The slippers came bang into my face the moment I entered the room, before I had uttered a word. She is perfectly awful language.
But why? What did we do to her?
I think I know pretty well what you did to her. The girl is naturally rather affectionate, isn't she, Mr. Doolittle?
That's very tender-hearted, man. Takes after me.
Just so. She had become attached to you both. She had worked very hard for you, Mr. Henry. I don't think you quite realize what anything in the nature of brain work means to a girl like that. Well, it seems that when the great day of trial came, and she had done this wonderful thing for you without making a single mistake, you two sat there without saying a word to her, but instead talked together of how happy you were that the whole thing was over and how you had become bored with the whole thing. And then you were surprised that she threw your slippers at you. I should have thrown my firearms at you.
We said nothing except that we were tired and wanted to go to bed, did we, Pick?
That was all.
Quite sure?
Really? That was all.
You didn't thank her, or pet her, or admire her, or tell her how splendid she had been?
Oh, she knew all about that. We didn't make speeches, if that's what you mean.
Perhaps we were a little inconsiderate. Is she Is she very angry?
Well, I'm afraid she won't go back to Wimple Street, especially now that Mr. Doolittle is able to keep up the position you have thrust upon her. But she's quite willing to meet you two on friendly terms and let bygones be bygones.
Oh, is she? By George.
I will ask her to come down if you promise to behave yourself. If not, go home, for you have wasted quite enough of my time.
Oh, right, very well. Think you behave yourself. Let us put on our best Sunday manners for this creature that we picked out of the mud.
Now, Higgins, have some consideration for my feelings as a middle-class man.
Remember your promise, Henry. Mr. Doolittle, would you be so good as to step out to the balcony for a moment? I don't want Eliza to have the shock of your news until she's made it up with these two gentlemen.
As you wish, my lady. Whatever I can do to help Henry keep her off my...
Will you please ask Miss Doolittle to come down? I will. Now, Henry, be good.
I am behaving myself perfectly.
He is doing his best, Mrs. Higgins.
Henry, you don't look at all nice in that attitude.
I wasn't trying to look nice, Mother.
Doesn't matter, dear. I only wanted you to speak.
Why?
Because you can't speak and whistle at the same time.
Where the devil is that girl? Are we to wait here all night?
How do you do, Professor Higgins? Are you quite well?
Am I?
But of course you are. You are never ill. Colonel Pickering, so glad to see you again. Quite chilly this morning, isn't it?
Don't you try this game on me. I taught it to you, and it doesn't take me. Get up and come home, and don't be a fool.
Very nicely put, Henry. No woman could resist such an invitation.
You let her alone, Mother. Let her speak for herself. You shall jolly soon see whether she has an idea I have been put into her head, or a word I have been put into her mouth. I tell you, I've created this thing out of the squashed cabbage leaves of Covent Garden, and now she pretends to play the fine lady with me.
Quite right, dear, but you'll sit down, won't you?
Will you throw me out altogether now that the experiment is over, Colonel Pickering?
Oh, no, you mustn't think of it as an experiment. It shocks me somehow.
No, but I'm only a squashed cabbage leaf.
No.
But I owe so much to you that I should be very unhappy if you forgot me.
It's very kind of you to say so, Miss Doolittle.
And it's not because you paid for my dresses. I know you're generous to everybody with money, but it was from you that I learned really nice manners, and that is what makes one a lady, isn't it? You see, it was so very difficult for me with the example of Professor Higgins always before me. I was brought up to be just like him, unable to control myself, prone to swearing on the slightest provocation, and I should have never known that ladies and gentlemen didn't behave that way if you hadn't been there.
Well, that's only his way, you know. He doesn't mean it.
Yes, I didn't mean it either when I was a flower girl, but you see, I did it, and that's what makes the difference after all.
No doubt. Still, he taught you to speak. I couldn't have done that, you know.
Yes, that is his profession.
Damnation.
You see, it was just like learning to dance in the fashionable way. There was really nothing more than that in it. But do you know what began my real education?
What?
It was your calling me Miss Doolittle that first day when I came to Wimple Street. That was the beginning of self-respect for me. And there were 100 little things that you never noticed because they came so naturally to you. Things about taking off your hat and opening doors and...
Oh, that was nothing.
Yes. Things that showed that you thought and felt about me as if I was something better than a scullery maid. Although I know you would have been just the same to the scullery maid if she had been in the drawing room. You never took off your boots in the dining room when I was there.
You mustn't mind that. Higgins takes his boots off all over the place.
Yes. I'm not blaming him. It is his way, isn't it? But it made such a difference to me that you didn't do it. You see, apart from the things that anyone can pick up, the proper way of speaking and dressing and so on, the difference between a lady and a flower girl is, it's not how she behaves, it's how she's treated. I shall always be a flower girl to Professor Higgins because he's always treated me as a flower girl and always will, but I know I can be a lady to you because
You've always treated me as a lady, and you always will.
Don't grind your teeth, Henry.
Well, this is really very nice of you, Miss Doolittle.
I should like you to call me Eliza now, if you would.
Oh, thank you, Eliza, of course.
And I should like Professor Higgins to call me Miss Doolittle.
I'll see you down first.
Henry! Henry!
Don't stand it. Why don't you slam back at him? It would do him a lot of good.
Oh, I can't. I could have done it once before, but now I can't get back to it. Last night when I was wandering about, this girl came up to me and I tried to get back into the old way with her, but I just couldn't do it. You told me, you know, that when a child is brought to a foreign country, it picks up the new language in a few weeks and forgets its own. Well, I'm a child in your country. I've forgotten my own language and can speak nothing but yours. That's the real break-off between the corner of Tottenham Court Road and leaving Wimpole Street finishes it.
But you're coming back to Wimpole Street. You'll forgive Higgins.
Forgive, will she? Well, let her go. Let's see how she can get on. She'll relapse in 3 weeks without me.
He's incorrigible, Eliza. You won't relapse, will you?
Oh, no. No, not me. I've learnt my lesson. I don't suppose I could... I just want...
Just so.
Don't look at me like that, Eliza. It's not my fault. I've come into money.
Well, you must have touched a millionaire this time, Dad.
I have, Eliza. But I'm dressed something special today. I'm going to St. George's, Hanover Square. Your stepmother is going to marry me.
But you're letting yourself down to marry that no common woman?
He ought to, Eliza. Why has she changed her mind?
Intimidated, Governor. Intimidated. Middle-class morality claims its victim. Eliza, won't you come pull on your hat and see me turned off?
Well, if the Colonel says I must, then I'll demean myself for all my suffering.
Oh, don't be afraid, Eliza. She rarely comes to words with anyone now. Respectability has broke all the spirit out of her.
Be kind to them, Eliza. Make the best of it.
Well, to show there's no ill feeling, I'll be back in a moment.
You know, I'm feeling uncommonly nervous today about the ceremony. I wish you'd come with me and see me put through it.
But you've been through it before, man. You were married to Eliza's mother.
Who told you that?
Well, nobody told me, but I concluded naturally.
Oh, that's not the natural way. That's the middle class. My way was always the undeserved way. But I had told Eliza, she don't know, I never had the sensitivity to tell her.
Quite right. We'll leave it so, if you don't mind.
Yeah. And you'll come with me to see me put through the ceremony.
With pleasure, as far as a bachelor can.
Can I come, Mr. Doolittle? I should be awful sorry to miss your wedding.
Oh, I should be honored by your condescension, man. And little lady would get a tremendous thrill out of it. She's been very low lately, thinking of the happy days that are no more.
Well, I'll order the carriage and get ready. I shan't be more than 15 minutes. I'm going to the church to see your father married, Eliza. You had better be coming with me in the brougham. Hello, Pickering can go on with the bridegroom.
Bridegroom? What a word. Makes one realize his position somehow.
Before I go, Eliza, do you forgive him and come back to us?
I don't suppose Papa would allow me, would you, Dad?
Dad. Well, they treated you very kindly, them two sportsmen. If it had been only one, you could have targeted me. But you see, one of them chaperoned the other. But no, I bear no malice to you. No, I should have done it myself. I've been the victim of one after other women all my life. No, I shan't interfere. Well, it's almost time. So long, Henry. See you at St. George's, Eliza.
Eliza. Well, Eliza, you've had a bit of your own back, as you call it. Have you had enough, and are you going to be reasonable? Or do you want any more?
Oh, you want me back only to pick up your slippers and fetch and carry for you?
I haven't said I wanted you back at all.
Oh, indeed. Then, what are we talking about?
About you, not about me. If you come back, I shall treat you just as I have always treated you. I can't change my nature, and I don't intend to change my manners. My manners are exactly the same as Colonel Pickering's.
Oh, that's not true. He treats a flower girl as if she was a duchess.
And I treat a duchess as if she was a flower girl.
I see. Same to everybody.
Just so.
Like father.
Without accepting the comparison at all points, it's quite true that your father's not a snob, and that he shall find himself comfortable in any station of life to which his eccentric destiny calls him. The great secret, Eliza, is not having bad manners, or good manners, or any other particular sort of manners, but having the same manners for every human soul. In short, behaving as if you were in heaven, where there are no third-class carriages, and one soul is as good as another.
Amen. You are a born preacher.
Look, the question is not whether I treat you rudely, but whether you ever heard me treat anyone else better.
I don't care how you treat me. I don't mind your swearing at me. I don't mind a black eye. I've had one of those before, but I won't be passed over.
Well, then get out of my way, for I won't stop for you. You talk about me as if I was a motor bus.
So you are a motor bus, all bounce and go and no consideration for anyone but yourself. But I can do without you, don't you?
Oh, I know you can. I told you you could.
I know you did, you brute. You tried to get rid of me.
Liar.
Oh, thank you.
You never asked yourself, I suppose, whether I could do without you.
Oh, don't you try to get round me. You'll have to do without me.
I can do without anybody. I have my own soul, my own spark of divine fire, but I shall miss you, Eliza. I've learned something from your idiotic notions. I confess that humbly and gratefully, and I have grown accustomed to your voice and appearance. I like them rather.
You have both of them in your photographs and on your gramophone. When you're lonely without me, you can turn the machine on. It's got no feelings.
Oh, I can't turn on your soul. Leave me those feelings. Take away the voice and the face, and then on to you.
Oh, you can twist the heart of a girl as easy as some could twist her arm. You know, Mrs. Pearce warned me about you. Time and again, she has tried to leave you, but you always got round her at the last minute. You don't care a bit for her, and you don't care a bit for me.
Oh, I care for life, for humanity, and you're a part of it that has come my way and been built into my house. What more could you or anyone else ask?
I won't care for anyone that doesn't care for me.
Commercial principles, Eliza, like shed and void.
Oh, don't sneer at me. It's mean to sneer at me.
I've never sneered in my life. Sneering doesn't become either the human face or the human soul. I'm expressing my righteous contempt for commercialism. I don't and won't trade in affection. You call me a brute because you can buy a claim on me by fetching my slippers and finding my spectacles. You are a fool. I think a woman fetching a man's slippers is a disgusting sight. Did I ever fetch your slippers for you? I think a great deal more of you throwing them in my face. No use slaving over me and saying you want to be cared for. Who cares for a slave? If you come back for the sake of good fellowship, or you'll get nothing else. You've had 1,000 times more out of me than I have out of you, and if you dare set up your little dog's tricks of fetching and carrying slippers, I'll slam the door in your silly face.
What did you do it for if you didn't care for me?
Why, because it was my job.
Well, you didn't think of the trouble it would cause me.
Eliza, would the world have ever been made if its maker had been afraid of making trouble? Making life means making trouble. The only way to escape trouble is by killing things. Cowards, you notice, are always shrieking about having troublesome people killed.
Yes, well, I'm no preacher like you are. I don't notice things like that. I notice that you don't notice me.
Eliza, you're an idiot. I waste the treasures of my Miltonic mind by spreading them before you. Now, understand once and for all, that I go my way and do my work without carrying 2 pence. What happens to either of us? I'm not intimidated like your father or your stepmother. So you can come back or go to the devil, which you please.
What am I to come back for?
For the fun of it. That's why I took you on.
Yes, and then you may throw me out again tomorrow if I don't do everything you want me to do.
Yes, and you may go just as soon as I don't do everything you want.
Ah, and live with my stepmother?
Yes, or sell flowers.
Only I could go back to my flower basket. I'd be rid of you and father and all the world. Why did I let you take my independence? Why did I give it up? I'm a slave now for all my fine clothes.
Not at all. I'll adopt you as my daughter and settle money on you. Or would you rather marry Pickering?
I would marry you if you asked me, and you're nearer my age than what he is.
Then he is not, then what he is.
I'll talk as I like. You're not my teacher now.
No, I don't suppose he wouldn't know. He's as confirmed an old bachelor as I am.
It's not what I want, and don't you think it. I've always had chaps enough wanting me that way. Freddy Hill writes to me twice and 3 times a day, sheets and sheets of it.
Damn it.
Oh, he has a right to if he likes the poor lad, and he does love me.
Now, you have no right to encourage him.
Every girl has a right to be loved.
But by fools like that.
Freddy is not a fool. And if he's weak and poor and wants me, maybe he'd make me happier than my betters that bully me and don't want me.
Can he make anything of you? That's the point.
Well, perhaps I could make something of him, but that's not what I want. Don't you think it? I only want it to be natural.
And short, you want me to be as infatuated about you as Freddy, is that it?
No, I don't. That's not the sort of feeling I want from you, and don't you be too sure of yourself or of me. I could have been a bad girl if I'd liked. I've seen more of some things than you have for all your learning. A girl like me can drag a gentleman down to make love to him easy enough, and then wish each other dead the next minute.
Of course they do. What in thunder are we quarrelling about?
I want a little kindness. I know I'm a common, ignorant girl, and you are a book-learned gentleman, but I am not dirt under your feet. All right, what I've done, what I did was not for the dresses or the taxes. I did it because we were pleasant together, and I came to care for you. Not to want you to make love to me and not forgetting the difference between us, but more friendly-like.
Of course, that's exactly how I feel and how Pickering feels. Eliza, you're a fool.
That's not the proper answer to give me.
Well, it's all you'll get until you stop being a common idiot. If you're going to be a lady, you'll have to give up feeling neglected if the men you know don't spend half their time snivelling over you and the other half giving you black eyes. You can't stand the coldness of my sort of life, or the strain of it, then go back to the gutter. Work until you're more a brute than a human being, and then come home and squabble and cuddle and drink until you fall asleep. Oh, it's a fine life, the life of the gutter. It's real, it's warm, it's violent. You can feel it through the thickest skin, you can taste it and smell it without any work or any training. Not like science, or literature, or classical music, or art, or philosophy. You call me cold, unfeeling, selfish, do you? Well then, be off with you to the sort of people you like. Marry some sentimental hog or other, with lots of money, and a thick pair of lips to kiss you with, and a thick pair of boots to kick you with. Can't appreciate what you've got. Gotta go get what you can appreciate.
You are a cruel tyrant. I can't say anything to you. You turn everything against me, but you know very well all this time that you are nothing but a bully. You know, I can't go back to the gutter, as you call it, that I have no real friends in this world but you and the Colonel. You know well I couldn't bear to live with a low common man after being with you two. It is wicked cruel of you to think that I can. You think that I must go back to Whittle Street, because I have nowhere else to go but father's. But don't you be so sure that you have me under your feet to be trampled and talked down. I'll marry Freddy. I will, as soon as he's able to support me.
Rubbish. You'll marry a Governor General of India or a Lord Lieutenant of Ireland. I'm not going to have my masterpiece thrown away on Freddy.
Oh, you think I like you to say that, but I haven't forgotten what you were just saying 5 minutes ago, and I won't be coaxed around as if I was a baby or a puppy. If I can't have kindness, I'll have independence.
Independence? Middle-class blasphemy. We're all dependent on one another, every soul of us on earth.
Well, I'll let you see whether I'm dependent on you. If you can preach, I can teach. I'll go and be a teacher.
What will you teach, in heaven's name?
Oh, what you taught me? I'll teach phonetics. And I'll offer myself as an assistant to Professor Napine.
What? That impostor, that humbug, that
You? But you can't take away the knowledge you gave me. You said yourself I have a finer ear than you, and I can be similar kind to people, which is more than you can. Oh, that's done you, Henry Higgins, it has. And how? I don't care that for all your bullying and your big talk. I'll advertise in the papers that your duchess is only a flower girl that you taught, and that she'll teach anyone how to be a duchess just the same in 6 months for 1,000 years. When I think of myself, being trampled under your feet and tossed down, all I had to do was lift up a finger to be just as good as you. I just kick myself.
Damned impudent slut. It's better than sniveling, better than fetching slippers, isn't it? By George, Eliza, I said I'd make a woman of you, and I have. I like you this way.
Yes, you make up to me now that I'm not afraid of you and can do without you.
Oh, of course. Little fool, before you were like a millstone around my neck. Now you're a tower of strength, a consort battleship. You and I and Pickering shall be 3 old bachelors instead of 2 men and a silly girl.
The carriage is waiting, Eliza. Are you ready?
Quite. Is the professor coming?
Certainly not. He never behaved himself in church. He makes remarks all the time out loud in the clergyman's pronunciation.
Then I shall not see you again, Professor. Goodbye.
By the way, Eliza, order me a ham and Stilton cheese, will you? And a new tie and a pair of reindeer gloves to match the new suit at Elam Midman's. You can choose the color.
Buy them yourself.
I'm afraid you spoiled that girl, Henry. Never mind, dear. I'll buy you the tie and gloves.
Oh, don't bother. She'll buy them all right enough. Bye, Mother.
Goodbye.
Thank you everybody for coming out tonight. The second night of Pygmalion. This has been a blast, as it always is. Feeling your energy. There's just a bunch of people I want to thank who were helped work on the show who did not appear on stage tonight. So first of all, I want to thank well, our tech person, Josh, over there. Always reliable for that. Kyle Zieba. Ellen, who's operating the camera. I want to thank a few people who are not here tonight. Sorrentino, who was our stage manager, who got to get it all. And Keith Jason, who did the music, the soundtrack that you hear. I want to thank Sir Hope for letting us use the space. Mary Lawrence. Thank you all for coming out. We're halfway through our run. This is great. We've got 2 more shows next week. We're selling snacks out there for donations out there. So if you didn't get those and you're hungry and all that, please do that.
Pretty soon we'll give them away.
Pretty soon, yeah.
Last day of the show. You gotta come back.
But other than that, thank you for coming out and joining us. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your night. See you later. Thank you.